Hey everyone, this is your old pal Brian Hunt, and welcome to episode 5 of 60 Seconds of Risk. Today's subject, we're going to be covering the concept of cyber warfare. Specifically, in my last video, I got a comment from my friend Yasmin Hayes to cover cyber, and so I figured this might be a great opportunity to also do my first book review on 60 Seconds of Risk. And specifically about 9 months ago, I wrote a book called This Is How They Tell Me the World Ends by Nicole Perloff. And I purchased my copy, not by a book, but digitally, and I did so through Amazon. I read it on my iPad, which is great because I like to sort of highlight those current sections which I think are pertinent on the topic. And just so you know, Nicole Perloff was a reporter for the New York Times and covered the hacking community from this day one to like current, so they say the past 20 years. And this book is highly detailed and explains the history of the hacker community and gaps or bugs in software systems and how initially software companies didn't want people to know about that, and then later the community, as far as hackers, were being paid to divulge their bugs and let the general public know about it. But in time, large sovereign nations, specifically the Russians, the Chinese, the North Koreans, Iranians, started buying what's called zero-day hacks, and rather than let people know about it, they kept them to themselves. So nation states have accumulated what's called zero-day hacks, and they have them basically sitting on their bookshelves, for lack of a better term, ready to pounce and ready to deploy those zero-day hacks so they can attack the infrastructure of their enemies. Specifically, water treatment plants, power plants, nuclear reactors, you name it. And think about old firms out there, especially with the deregulation that occurs across systems, where companies aren't forced to update their infrastructure and their software packages, and they're running legacy systems on a Windows 95. Windows doesn't update that anymore and fixes the bugs in the systems. So the bad guys have that access to those systems. And as a little taste of what happened, think about what happened with Colonial Pipeline a year ago, and how that was taken down by a Russian actor. So now think if the entire Russian government forcefully decided to release all these zero-day hacks throughout the country and attacking our water treatment plants, our power plants, pipeline systems, you name it, it could be crippling. So having read this book, I got to tell you, it makes me pretty scared. It also makes me know that we've got gaps in our systems and we need to be a lot more resilient in making improvements to our IT infrastructure. And not just as the company as a whole, as far as the country as a whole, but also individually on your company level. It's making your company more resilient and resilient regarding zero-day hacks or any sort of cyber warfare. And especially what's going on right now in the Ukraine, cyber attacks don't respect boundaries, and they can easily come across from a computer terminal in Russia all the way to Dallas, Texas, or Los Angeles, or wherever you might be. So cannot recommend further. This Is How They Tell Me the World Ends by Nicole Perloff. It's a big book, and we're going to sort of slice it into sections and further reviews, but if you want to get an update, a little primer on how big the exposure is to the country and to your daily life and your family's life, then I would highly recommend you get a copy of this book. So again, this has been Brian Hunt with 60 Seconds of Risk. Hope you enjoyed this episode. Again, remind you can find these episodes not only here on LinkedIn, but on my channel at YouTube. Hopefully you like it. Subscribe. Leave your comments and suggestions of what you'd like to see. You can also find these videos on Twitter. See you next week, guys. Take care.